Hello, I am Endlessness and welcome back to Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and we have some news and updates and a few different topics I'd like to talk about. So now we have Bahamut EX3 with a very pre-icon, and if anyone thought that the anniversary hard tower with B30 Bahamut had high requirements, this one is so much more ridiculous. Initially I tried it with 200 MDF and this is honestly nothing. Now it's 300 MDF and I think it's completely ridiculous. But since this battle has such insane requirements, I think it's possible we might see a character level cap increase in the near future. It will also continue with Iron. We had level 80 just after the half year anniversary in April and then level 90 in October, while that anniversary B30 tower was still active. So I think it's very possible we might see that level 100 cap increase in March or April, and that will definitely make Bahamut EX3 more accessible and possible to clear. And since we got level 120 weapon cap increase almost a year ago, I might be wrong on that, but I have a feeling that we might see another one soon, because of how generous the game is with giving us a lot of mithril ingots lately. However, I have played around and prepared my Bahamut team, and I can survive the opening and a bit more, but I need Barrett's Fafnir rifle as Provoke and Veil is 100% required for this battle to stop Bahamut from putting one of your characters to sleep just before that Diamond Sigil phase. And I already said I'll wait for next week for Cloud's guild ranking banner to do my post, because if Cloud is getting a banner, most likely I have to pull on it, and I would just rather do my post in one session instead of having that banner anxiety twice. But since I don't have camera, I think Barret with Escutcheon will be a good alternative, but I'll need it at least at OB6 for it to work, so hopefully I get some banner luck on my post. And both Escutcheon and Crimson stuff buff magic attacks, so Sephiroth is my best and only option, and I also have Kuja to debuff Bahamut's attack. And then it depends if I have enough big PP damage and manage to squeeze through the DPS check. And of course having Barret's ultimate would be a luxury, but I'm pretty certain I am not going to have it, so I'll see. But I'm not sweating though. If I can beat it, great. If not, I'll just relax and wait for level cap increase. Next, new and upcoming content. So for this week we got Galon Balor Humus, and next week we'll get Crash, or rather Crash 1 and 2 since it's a rerun. And then the guild battle will begin, and a banner, most likely with Cloud and Sid, and I'm suspecting it will be the last new banner before the half year anniversary. However, on February 26th, just as Rebirth crossover will be ending, that hard Singularity tower is coming back. The one with B30 Bahamut, but now we'll get 5 new floors, and on the icon we can already see a Rejector and Bahamut Alba, and well, I think Bahamut will be the final B35 boss. I think it would be hilarious if they put those two bosses together for the final floor. Imagine the amount of despair it would bring. But since we got anniversary Bahamut banner with 2 characters with that easy tower, I think we might get a second banner rerun with Aerith and Yuffie when we get that hard tower. And also, I don't think we're getting a new very hard Crisis dungeon next month, because there was no dungeon in that new Crisis Core chapter. And I think next month we might just see those launch and early game dungeons return again like they did in the past. And to compensate for a month of no new dungeon, we just had those campaign missions with Crisis medals so that everyone can buy a Buster copy. But I hope I'm wrong, as we just got Bravery materia to buff physical attack, and now we're missing magic counterpart. However, that new Crisis Core chapter has surprised me, as all chapters so far were following the original game, but that new chapter covered 3 chapters, so that means our Crisis version of Crisis Core won't have 10 chapters but only 7. And next chapter will be the last one, since we are almost at the very end of the story, and it scares me because I love Crisis Core so very much and I'm terrified of that ending, and it's coming much sooner than I thought. But the good thing is that after Crisis Core ends, we'll have only Final Fantasy VII and the First Soldier storylines, and Final Fantasy VII doesn't have much story left either, and that means there's a possibility that we might see a new story soon, and personally I'm hoping to see Before Crisis first, because most of us never had a chance to play it since it was available only in Japan, and it also makes most sense for it to come first, because the events in a game take place during Crisis Core and Final Fantasy VII, and the other two stories, Advent Children and Dirge of Cerberus, we would need to have Final Fantasy VII storyline finished, because those two are sequels. There also has been an update on upcoming banners, and we already knew Zack is getting his ultimate weapon in March, but now we know Vincent will be getting his ultimate weapon in April, and there's a possibility of Glenn getting ultimate in May. And the banner list has been expanded, and it's very nice to see most characters will get a banner in upcoming months. And hopefully most of those banners will be featured banners, but let's not forget, in April we should be also getting a new character, unless they break that very consistent pattern, as we have been getting a new playable character every 3 months. And personally I would love to see Genesis added. But some more info has been shared for the near future. We should be getting Odin summon next, and for some very weird reason he is apparently a wind summon now. It's not something I would have ever expected to see, but it seems Santetsuken will now be a wind attack, and I honestly don't know what to think of that. I thought Odin will be the counterpart of Bahamut, and will be non-elemental physical summon, and we could get even Chocomog as wind summon. But since we got Bahafrit during half-year anniversary last year, I think Odin coming very soon is very possible. Also, I would like to applaud Applebot for dealing with the cheating issue in solo rankings. It took a few months, but they have now solved the problem, and it's a great surprise and a massive win for them. And just to quickly explain, because I'm not sure if you have heard about the whole cheating situation, since September there have been certain individuals who have been cheating in solo rankings, and competitive top players have quickly caught up to them, calculated their score, because you can't do that, and they have quickly determined that it's impossible to reach such numbers. And so they have started sending emails to Applebot regarding this issue, but the devs have never addressed it. Until they solved it now, and I think they have solved it in an amazing way. So, in my group there has been the most known cheater, and since that incident a few months ago where people were publicly talking about him, I'm not going to say any names because I don't want any drama and it's irrelevant anyway, and the guild master of that guild was defending him. Ever since, that particular cheater has been more careful not to get impossible scores anymore and always stayed just below top 1. Just him though, because there have been some other cheating accounts, maybe his friends or his old accounts, I don't know. But this ranking has been the same, and he was top 2 as usual, but after calculating the final scores, he's not here anymore. So, let me just scroll down to the very bottom of my group. So, the way Applebot has dealt with the cheaters is they have reduced their scores to 1 single point. Instead of removing them from the ranking completely, now the score is just reduced to 1. And I think it's great because it not only removes that person from possibly stealing anyone's rank, but now every player has access to this information and can check the very bottom of the group to see if there have been any cheaters that were flagged and dealt with. In my case, I ended up being 21st when the ranking was ending, but after calculating phase I was suddenly 20th, and it confused me. I was happy because I got a few more yellow synths for materia than I was expecting, and personally I don't care about red banner that I'll never use anyway, just those purple gacha tickets and yellow synths are important to me. So yes, you could say I'm highly motivated by cheats, but the more cheers you have in groups, the more ranks they steal from people who spend their time trying to get, and many of them are competitive top players who care a lot about placement. Why am I mentioning that? During that rather public cheer situation that happened a few months ago, I have seen some people say that they don't care about cheers because it doesn't affect them, as most often they couldn't compete for those top ranks anyway. I understand that. However, with all due respect, I disagree with this way of thinking, and I think it's a rather selfish mindset to have. So, I always end up in top 20-50 brackets, so why it doesn't affect me personally either, as I could never compete for those top ranks anyway. I think people cheating in a competitive setting is never a good thing that should be accepted. Top players, those whales and krakens, care about those competitive solo rankings, and seeing cheaters being allowed to cheat and them not being dealt with has been very frustrating for those legit competitive players, because why spend on banners if someone can just cheat their way up there anyway? And for many of those competitive top players, solo rankings are the most important content in the game, and I have heard and seen some of them quit over time because of that. So coming back to that mindset, I don't care about cheaters or some other issues because they don't affect me, I think it's not a good mindset to have, because while it didn't affect less competitive or smaller players now, it could have affected everyone in the future. Whales and krakens leaving, player base numbers dwindling and revenue dropping. If the situation is not being dealt with, sooner or later it leads often to one outcome: game being shut down. And I have said it many times, if there are any issues, I always try to view them from every type of player's perspective, because free-to-play, small spenders, whales and krakens all are part of the player base and all are important, and therefore for the good of the game and player base it's important to keep this balance where all players are happy, not just one group of them. And especially in this current situation and the state of the game, I think it's a very welcome surprise and a massive win for Applebot, as I think it restores hope in them for those who have been losing it. And of course there are many other things that should be improved, but it all takes time, and I'm hoping that it's the first step and we'll see some more of those improvements soon. And lastly, I'm in a guild called Raccoons, and we're allied together with Top 1 Guild, free to play by the way, and 7 Heaven is our third allied guild, and we are looking to fill one spot before the upcoming guild battle. We work very well together, especially during those guild battles, and past leaderboards I approve of it, I hope, with us Raccoons being consistent top 3, BTW is always top 1, and 7 Heaven has aspirations to reach top 10 again, like they did in most guild battles in the past, but they just fell a little bit short in the last 2 ones. So if any of you might be interested, you are very welcome to reach out on Discord, and I think Atlas would be the best person to contact because he is my overboss and he is active in most Ever Crisis Discords, or you can contact me directly as well, of course. But we are just looking for active players who want to work together with the guild towards the same goal while having some fun. But yeah, that would be all, so thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you next one.